in a technology, you take certain steps by which you get not only familiar, but you master that technology. For example, let me, what happens once you do that? Once you do that, you find that the rest of the world actually sort of follows you. You know, uh, look at, for example, I remember I was a member of Science Advisory Committee to the Prime Minister in Rajiv Gandhi's time. And I remember there was a discussion. He asked us, what are you good at? And I remember Professor Narsiva saying, we are good at this. So what do we do with it? And that is where the, Cray had denied us the supercomputer at that time. Okay. So he said, we'll make our own supercomputer. And that will be parallel processing based architecture. And in 1991, we created the first supercomputer, 1991, Param 8000. Result of that, because we made it ourselves, was that although it was denied to us, because we were, they were afraid that we'll use it in design of nuclear weapons, US government said supercomputers are not necessary to design nuclear weapons, the Las Alamos report. So as soon as we had developed that particular capacity, the strategy changed. Then 1991-92, we even exported this to Canada, Russia, etc. In 1998, we created the Param 10,000, which was 100 gigaflops. And then what happened? We had developed our own capacity, and Cray came and said, we will now supply you the supercomputers. So what do I mean by make to buy better? You had to demonstrate your own capacity that you can make it. All right. And then we could buy better, because otherwise they would not have given us the technology. So that is the other option that we have. Okay. The last point is, of course, making it together. Remember, buy, make to buy better, buy to make better, and make it together. Now make it together. I mean, again, once again, in the Nimitli program, New Millennium program, I remember BioSuit was created. TCS came in, Tata Consulting Services, and 19 laboratories. Tata Consulting Services knew how to make a product, because bioinformatics, we needed. The software accelerators was available for $500,000. Or small biotech companies could not afford. But this public-private partnership created it just by $5 million within 18 months, which was ahead of the world. So we made it together. Neither TCS, Tata Consulting Services, would have been able to do on their own, because they did not have competence in life science, nor our laboratories would have been able to do on their own, because they had knowledge, but they did not know how to make a product. But together, as a public-private partnership, we could actually do it. So this is precisely what we need to do. And Atmanirbhar Bharat, therefore, I sort of repeat, on these 5 strong pillars. I'd like to end my talk in the next 15 minutes or so by actually giving you what I call as 10 Mashelkar mantras, if you like. Okay? And each one I'll illustrate, because when we talk about Atmanirbharta with Atmavishwas, all these attributes become very, very important for us. So I like to end by sort of talking about these 10 mantras. The first mantra is, aspirations are your possibilities. Keep them high. Because if you aim at Everest, at least you will go to Kanchenjunga. But if you aim at Kanchenjunga, you may not be able to go to Hanuman Tekadi. And if you aim at Hanuman Tekadi, you will be standing at ground only. So you have to aim high. I remember when I took over as the director of National Chemical Laboratory, 1989. This was in the pre-liberalization days. What were we doing? We were copying. We were reverse engineering. And that, of course, helped us, because, for example, 70% of the agrochemicals that were used for green revolution were done by us, but they were all copied the sort of molecules. And it was perfectly admissible. Same thing in generic industry. Generic industry means the molecule is known. You are just creating an alternative process for that. But we did that. But then supposing you did something which was ahead of the rest of the world. I found that when I went to Indian industry, they would say, no, 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 no. Have they done it? Has Japan done it? Has US done it? Has Europe done it? So that Atma Vishwas that I talk about, Atma Nirbharta with Atma Vishwas was not there. The confidence was not there. So I said, what am I selling? Knowledge. And what is my market? The whole world. So I said, National Chemical Laboratory will be International Chemical Laboratory. We'll export our knowledge to the rest of the world. And can you just imagine, which was very audacious. When I say export my knowledge, that means I'm licensing out my patents to the best companies in the United States of America. How is it possible? In fact, I remember after I gave my speech on the opening day, a young man came to me and said, sir, do you realize, I mean, I had talked about even licensing patents to General Electric, because I'm a polymer guy, so I was doing something in polymers and they were leading in what is called as polycarbonate. You say, how can you dream of licensing it to them? They are the 40% market share. I said, no, it is not the power of budget. It's the power of ideas that matters. And we did that. Within 2 years after that meeting, we had licensed out 3 of our patents for close to $1 million to the leader, actually, to the leader in that particular field. All right. That is what I mean by aspiration. Keeping it high. We said international chemical. The second is perseverance pace. I told you when I began with passion, perseverance, and the purpose once you know. So remember, it is too early to give up. Winners never quit and quitters never win. Michael Jordan, the legendary basketball player, had once said, I have missed 9,000 shots in my life, but I never give up. So I think that is very important because we tend to be impatient. That's second. The third is be always a part of a solution, not part of a problem. And because I'm talking to the young, I'll give you examples of young. There is what is called as a National Innovation Foundation, of which I was chairman for 18 years. It looks at grassroots innovation. What does it mean? That means it is not innovation done in CSR laboratories or universities. It is done by ordinary people in the field, by children, by housewives, and so on. And we honor them. So I'll tell you about one Shalini, 13-year-old girl. She was in Bihar, 12-year-old girl. And she saw her grandfather walking with great difficulty, climbing up the stairs with great difficulty. He had a walker. And she said, no, I must make it easy for him. And she designed another walker with front-loaded, springs, legs, by which he could sort of walk comfortably. And we helped her from NIF to create a prototype. And that was licensed later on. And can you just imagine 10,000 of these getting manufactured every year? She's getting a royalty which is more than her father's income. A 12-year-old girl, Shalini, because she did not want to be a part of a problem, but part of a solution. There's another girl from Kerala, Remya. Her father was down with cancer. Her mother was perennially ill. She had to actually change 3 buses to go to school. And after she came home, she had a problem because she had to wash the clothes. That was her duty. And also to study. So either she could wash the clothes or study. She said, I will do both. And she created a washing machine which was pedal driven. I mean, by her legs, she could move the pedal, the rotating drum. And so she could actually both wash as well as study, read. She did not become a part of a problem. She said, I will solve it. So I think that attitude is most important. So that's my third lesson. The fourth is, don't knock on doors of opportunity all the time because many of them will not open. When they don't open, create your own doors. I remember when I joined NCL 1976, India was a poor country at that time. And I remember as a research scientist, you know how important equipment is, and many of them are imported equipment. So I was a student of geology and non-Newtonian fluid mechanics, and I needed what is called as a Weisenberg rheoganometer, an equipment. And it would take 18 months to get it. Oh, okay? Because we did not have foreign exchange. And there was DGTD clearance, not manufactured in India certificate. You have none of that, by the way, at the moment. If you want a $5 million equipment, DG will give it to you. Your director will give it to you. That was not the case at that time. You know, we had to wait. So what do I do then? Do I fold my hands like this and say, I will wait for 18 months? No. I changed my field. I said, what do I have? I have this. And I went into modeling and simulation. Okay. And the work that I did on modeling on simulation, basically, I started work in 77. In 82, in 5 years' time, I got Bhatnagar Prize for that work, which, as you know, for under 45, that's the highest sort of prize. Now, you can just imagine if I kept on knocking on the door so that I get that equipment, that door would not open for 18 months. I said, thank you very much. I create my own door. And we had modeling and simulation. And actually, the kind of modeling and simulation we did, K.R. Nath, the student, you know, later on he got employed in Aspen Tech, headed their polymer division, and he was telling me when he visited South Korea, they were using our modeling and simulation. So that is the power of Indian mind. But the message to you is that when the doors don't open, create your own doors. That's the fourth lesson. The fifth lesson is that, particularly for the young, I want to insist, you know, remember, like instant coffee, there is no instant success. You have to work hard. I'm 77 now, but I can assure you